Let's talk about Teferi's family. This is another lore request. If you want me to cover a topic, let me know and I'll add it to my list. So early on in life, Teferi at a young age was taken to the Talarian Academy. It's not super clear if the children at the Talarian Academy had a choice to be there or not. Like, we don't know if this is a Jedi situation. We do know that they used children because the Phyrexians could not imitate children at the time. Their sleeper agents were fully grown. Back then, we only knew who his grandfather was, a man named Mabutho. Because of the time shenanigans on Talaria, he became very disconnected from any family he might have had, and very quickly outlived them while he still looked like he was in his 20s. Because of that, the people at Talaria became more like his family. Specifically, Karn and Joyra. He was sort of a bully to Karn when he was younger, and he had a massive crush on Joyra that lasted for decades. Even going so far as to ask her to marry him. She said no. But his whole life changed after the Great Mending. You see, he had phased out Zhalfir, his homeland, in order to protect it from Phyrexia, but he miscalculated, came back 300 years later instead of 100 years later, into a world filled with time rifts, and ended up sacrificing his planeswalker Spark to return Shiv, which he had also phased out. Another planeswalker closed Zhalfir's time rift without phasing Zhalfir back in, and Teferi feared Zhalfir was lost forever. In the Return to Dominaria story, we get more about what happened to Teferi between then and now. About a decade after the Mending, he meets a woman named Subira. She is a caravaner who meets him at the same time a member of her caravan is trying to kill him for what he did to Zhalfir. Keep in mind, from the perspective of all these people, Zhalfir disappeared 300 years ago. Teferi is sort of a legendary figure, and people don't necessarily think this Teferi is that Teferi. They just think, oh, your parents named you something unfortunate, hey. But over the course of figuring out a crisis, they develop attraction to one another. And pretty soon they have a child, which changes Teferi's life, their daughter, Niambi. Teferi becomes essentially a stay-at-home dad. And while Teferi isn't ageless anymore, he's still aging very slowly. So in the modern time, he looks about 50 and his daughter is 50. In fact, it's even noted that she's starting to look older than him. Niambi grows up to be an important woman in her own right. She is a speaker of Femeref, which is sort of like, she's like a senator, basically. She marries a man named Denik, and they have 2 children. A boy named Mabutho, after Teferi's own grandfather, and a girl named Kekwia. Mabutho is, I think, either late teens or early 20s. I believe he has a wife of his own, who's unnamed. And Kekwia is still a teenager. While it's not explicitly canon, my sort of headcanon for how Teferi gets the last name Akosa is that it was Subira's last name, and because Teferi lacked a last name, he took hers. And if Zhalfir or Femeref was sort of a matrilineal culture anyway, it would track.